Hello, welcome back. You know, there's something really endearing about a really simple game that a lot of people can relate to, even if to a small extent. Games that our generation grew up with, that it's kind of guaranteed that you'll like a few of them. You know, the kind of references you can make and you're pretty sure that you're not going to look like an idiot. In the right age group, you can make a joke about the Olympia or who's buying the first door, and it's a slam dunk guarantee. I've always loved the COD Zombies games. I was a little too young for World at War. Black Ops 1 was the first one my brother introduced me to. The thing is, on paper, COD Zombies sounds kind of boring. Okay, so it's just like multiplayer, except they can't shoot you. How can that possibly be fun or challenging? I remember having that thought process as a little boy and then having my nuts sufficiently punted, but like in a good way, you know? The simplicity of the gameplay loop was a very rewarding and fun process. Spawning into the exact same room, buying probably the same guns, same doors, and just shooting zombies in the face doesn't sound that fun, but I promise it is. I think part of the reason is just the engine is so satisfying and responsive. There's something about just like running away from a horde and just unloading on them and watching your points go up by tens. Just feels nice. Just gives you that feeling, you know? The sound effects for the guns are really good. The zombies too, it's kind of iconic. The reload animations are like all slick and oily, makes you feel like you're at the water park. The invisible sprint meter, the round change sounds, all these things work together and make you forget that you've just been running in circles holding R2 for 40 minutes. Now, of course, there's a ton of smaller things that make it fun and accessible, but the biggest thing are the maps. Most of the enjoyment comes from those. For this segment of the video, I'm focusing on the maps from World at War to Black Ops 3, you know, like the OG ones. Out of the 22 maps released between those games, I think one of them is bad. Die Rise. But honestly, it's really impressive how often they hit home runs. Almost every single map is beautiful and fun to play in its own way. Even like Zetsubo no Shima. It's really pretty and has some fun mechanics if you don't have someone in your ear telling you it sucks. Transit is kind of a different beast. I hardly feel comfortable saying that Transit is good, but if you get 3 friends together and play Transit, you're gonna have a good time. And I can't really say the same about Die Rise. Oh yeah, I'm also just gonna be talking about the Black Ops Zombies games. So no like Vanguard or anything, but even though Zombies in Spaceland was pretty good, something I really appreciate about Zombies is how unique each map was, especially in Black Ops 2 and 3. Each one felt like their own unique experience. The vibe shift going from a dark, gritty 40s noir city to an overgrown swampy island and then to an Austrian medieval looking castle is crazy. It feels like each one is a separate game. I was gonna make a full video about this, but it would probably be like 20 seconds long, so here's my full tier list of all those maps. As you can see, Shadows of Evil is at the top because it's GOAT status. You know, looking at this, I'm kind of noticing a pattern that most of the later maps are my favorite. It's no shade to any of the OG maps at all. I think just something like Shadows is more fun to play than Verrucht. On that topic though, I think a common point of contention is that around the end of Black Ops 2, the map started getting a little more complicated. I remember the days when it was just shooting zombies without all this mumbo jumbo. If the mumbo jumbo isn't your cup of tea, that's fine, but I don't think the great design of these maps should be overlooked just because they got a little too complex for a while. But for a guy like me, who loves mumbo and to an extent jumbo, I always liked pausing at the windows and writing down the symbols to get the sword, but I understand that's really tedious for a lot of people. You know, not everyone wants to break out a protractor to do high rounds. Speaking of which, I'm going to talk about progression. Now, World at War Black Ops 1 had no progression at all. It was pretty much just an arcade game, just something kind of fun off to the side of the campaign and multiplayer. Black Ops 2 actually had an interesting system where you didn't like get XP and then unlock stuff. There's a little emblem that updated with your skill level. It was a pretty neat system. Like not like XP points, like it's like headshot percentage and like downs, you know how consistent you are. No other zombies games had a system like this. I think it makes Black Ops 2 pretty unique. Black Ops 3 just had your average fill the XP bar and unlock stuff, and you know, that worked for me. I liked it. I thought it was fun getting all the attachments and stuff, and don't even get me started on the camo grinding. The thing about zombies, especially the earlier ones, is it's kind of difficult for a lot of people to find motivation in just watching the round number go up slowly. So when you got these small goals that you can accomplish quickly, it adds up to be a pretty addictive gameplay loop, especially when you have like 3 friends with you, you know. And that's kind of the boat I was in before Black Ops 3 or even Cold War to an extent. Like when I would watch Z-tubers, you know, like Noah J and stuff like that, they would always talk about the setup, like getting your guns and perks and pack and all that shit. And that always kind of confused me because like once you're set up, you can either go for the high rounds or do the Easter egg for the map. Other than the Easter eggs, which can be a headache by the way, I would usually get burnt out quickly just running around in circles. So when Cold War came out with kind of like a remake of that zombies formula, they added something called exfil, which I think is brilliant. At round 10 and every 5 rounds after that, you get the option to call a chopper, defend it, and then you can exit the map and get a bunch of rewards. I love this feature. I think it solved a great problem with zombies. But on Cold War, I was really impressed with how fun it was. If you compare pre-Black Ops 3 zombies and Cold War and Black Ops 6 zombies, the latter is like much faster paced. It just kind of has a different feeling. It's a lot more offense oriented. There's so much stuff you can like vault over and climb onto if you want. You know, grenades and throwables actually do something. That was a great change. There's people talking to you. You're usually there with like an expressed purpose and goal. Whereas in Black Ops 3, you kind of just spawn in the middle of a swamp and you have no idea what's going on, and that's kind of a beautiful feeling. Cold War's approach wasn't bad at all, but I think it kind of created a filter that a lot of the players from the past couldn't get through. I think the maps are good. They're a far cry from Black Ops 3's like Shadows and Gorod Krovi, but I found myself coming back to them to play them just because I wanted to. The progression in Cold War was mostly the same as something like Black Ops 3, except the levels for multiplayer and zombies are tied together, which kind of reinforced zombies as like its own big boy game mode, you know? They also put in like Ethereum crystals, just really like simple ways to upgrade perks and stuff. I always like that. I want to say I don't think Black Ops 6 zombies is bad. Not mostly. I do think they made some baffling choices though. First thing I want to get off my chest, the pause timer. This game is always online. You're always online connected to their servers when you play, even if you're doing solo. What that means is you get 15 minutes of elapsed pause time per game. That is so stupid. And it wouldn't be so bad if it was for a good reason, but the main reason it's always online is so they can advertise to you more efficiently. You can go straight to the shop and buy a skin for 30 bucks. You know, generally I don't have a problem with cosmetics in video games, but the prices in the COD store are absolutely ridiculous. $28 for pretty much one skin. You know, these would be just like customizable styles in other games. But I'm losing the plot here. The video's about zombies. Yeah, it's fun. Thanks for watching.